All right, welcome back to the episode of Beer, Bacon, and Bros. Tonight we have the whole gang together for the first time in I think like 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. So
the last time in 2022,
and in the last time in 2022. So we were watching some bowl games this week. We had some hot controversy about players that are in the transfer portal playing in bowl games. So we're gonna lay all that out, get some opinions. Obviously, we want your opinions, so make sure you hit us in the comments. Thank you if you're already subscribed to our channel. If you're not, please, it's free to you, super easy, and we love growing our family right now. And as always, make sure you hit that like button for us so that our videos become more popular as well. So the big name was kind of Grayson McCall. So Grayson McCall, quarterback, Coastal Carolina. Obviously, Jamie Chadwell obviously has left. He's gone to Liberty. Chad Staggs, the defensive coordinator, took over. And there's really actually no rule currently with the transfer portal that players can't play in the bowl game while being in the portal. You would think, common sense wise, that if you're in the portal, you can't play.
You're not on the team.
You're not on the team. Yeah. You can't play for the team. But Grayson McCall out here fielding offers, trying to figure out what school he wants to go to, and was like, hey, coach, you want me in? I'm in. And so I think you respect that a little bit. But in my opinion, I think it's odd, and there probably should be a rule where if you are in the transfer portal, you can't play for the team that you're leaving. You know what
I would agree with that.
So,
well, I mean, the way I see it would be the same thing as if a coach is planning on taking a head coaching job at another school, but then still coaches a bowl game.
Yeah.
Like, he's already made it apparent that he's leaving your school, and yet you still allow him to coach. I mean, that's the same kind of situation here. You're saying, yes, I do want to leave the school, and yes, I intend on leaving, but while I'm here, I'm still going to play for y'all. And whether that's a bowl game or at the end of the year, and you don't make a bowl game, and after my last game, I'm out. Or in this case, in Grayson McCall, I got a bowl game left to play. I'm still here for the team. Yes, I do plan on leaving, but until that day comes, he's 100% in for that team. And I don't see why that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think it's also, I think it's the right thing for the players to do, because there's no difference between you saying you're going to transfer and still playing than a professional athlete saying, I have no intentions of re-signing with my current team when my free agency comes up in the offseason. But they still play all the remaining games. Yeah. There's no difference, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. 100%.
There's no difference. Now, the coaches can decide to bench you or not play you. That's on them. But I don't think there's really any difference between. I mean, how many times have we seen that, especially in football and basketball and hell baseball, like the players being like, I have no intentions of being in this city next season, but they still play out the whole damn season.
Yeah. I think for me, the professional rank of being under contract and getting paid for that contract than playing out, I think
it's a little different.
It's a little different for me.
Well, hell, college isn't even getting paid technically to pay that. So what? So good on them for playing the bowl game for free.
Yeah, I mean, he really is, I guess, just doing it for
the love of the game.
Maybe a little bit. Could also be to really highlight his skill set in a bowl game versus East Carolina for that next college that's thinking about him. And so, I think for me, there is just a little bit separate. Like if I'm a player on Coastal Carolina, I don't know how I would feel about Grayson McCall, who's already said he's leaving, right? He's not coming back to Coastal, playing with us in a bowl game for a team he's not even going to be a part of next year.
But I mean,
I think I would rather hand it over. Obviously, the backup quarterback Carpenter was suspended, so Coastal Chad Staggs really didn't have a whole lot of options. It was play Grayson McCall, your 6-year quarterback suspended, your third-string quarterback is your only other option. So from a coaching standpoint, Chad Staggs obviously wants to win. I get that. Play Grayson McCall. It's not a hard decision for him probably. But, for the team, I'm like, man, give it to the third string. Like, let's see what this kid can do,
He's
right?
going to be there next year.
He's actually going to be here, so let's see what
there's a difference between getting meaningful reps in a game, like a preseason game, or a game that's a blowout, or a game that you're even down by 30, and just getting, reps in with some of the first-teamers versus thinking, hey, we need to go win a bowl game to, highlight our school. You got to put your best players out there. You can't be like, oh, I can't believe this guy's leaving and sit him. Because to his knowledge, his thing about professional, that could be the coaching staff. Be like, oh, Aaron Judge, I know you said you weren't going to sign with New York this year, so I'm going to sit you for the rest of the season, sit him for 80 games until he decides, whether or not he's going to sign with New York. Like, why would you sit your best player?
Imagine like the Green Bay Packers last season. came out of preseason and was like, you know what, Aaron, you've been bitching a lot about mismanagement of the team and all that stuff, and you seem like you're not going to come back next year. We're just not going to play you this year. Like, how would that have gotten,
Yeah. I mean,
people would have been up and granted, now on that scale of things, that's a big difference, but genuinely these kids are playing for free. And hell, I mean, he could have honestly just said, I'm opting out, and no one would have raised any questions.
Yeah.
But he said, I plan on leaving, but I'm still going to do this one last game while I'm here. Which is honestly, in my opinion, is the more noble thing to do. And people are being like, well, why are you being a little asshole with transferring? But still, like, he's getting flack for doing what I consider to be the right thing to do. Even though he's leaving.
He's looking out for himself by leaving, but then also looking out for the team by giving them their best chance of winning. Because there was a reason why he was starting quarterback all year round. And, and the 6-year guy that got suspended didn't start, and the third string didn't get, chances to play. There's a reason why McCall's out there doing what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the guy's only thrown 8 picks in 3 years. There's a reason he's out there. So, all right. So tell me about your thoughts on this, though. So to go farther in depth on this, a player in the transfer portal can not only be in the portal, they can commit to another school and sign with another school and still play in the bowl game for their current school, as long as they haven't enrolled in classes and are attending practice and have received any monetary value from the next school that they're heading to. I don't comfortable with all 3 of those and the player playing, or just?
I think they could honestly add rules to that, but I really don't see an issue with it unless it happens to be like he is transferring to the school they're playing in the bowl game. Like a clear cut conflict of interest or something like that,
Yeah.
Or hell, you could even say, if you're transferring within conference, you can't do that. I mean, I don't really see an issue with that because, like you said, he's not going to school there already. He's not going to school there yet. He's not paying money towards the school yet. It's iffy, but I don't really see an issue.
Yeah, I mean, if the question is in 7 months, am I going to be attending the school versus no, in 3 weeks I'm starting classes in January, I think that's completely 2 different things.
Yeah.
Because if the school, because I would say by that time, I would expect the school to expect your tuition to be paid in December. Well, now all of a sudden, you've already paid that school, whatever, So if you're starting classes in January, because I have a December bowl game, right, now you gotta, you've committed yourself a dollar amount to that other school. Then I feel like you kind of have to say, yeah, I'm forfeiting my rights to play in whatever bowl game.
Okay. Yeah. You're awfully quiet over there.
Well, y'all keep bringing up all the points I was going to say, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is the first year that this has become an issue, and I don't know if it's all because of NIL, because of all that's coming up. But I don't ever remember somebody transferring or going into the transfer portal and then playing in a bowl game before.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, in my opinion, if you're in the transfer portal, you're off the team. I mean, just that's what I mean. If you're already saying you're going to go, all right, there's the door. We'll, thanks for playing. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
I mean, no hard feelings, but I mean, if you're already saying you want to go, you make my team better, but
so if you had that kid come back, come into your office and say, hey, coach, I plan on leaving, but then until that day comes, I do want to be part of this team. I do want to play in this bowl game. As a coach, you're gonna be saying, all right, well, sorry.
Well, it depends. It depends on if you're in the transfer portal yet or not. If you're not in the portal, and you come to me and tell me that, that's fine. You're still on this team, but you go to the transfer portal. I feel like you should forfeit your rights to being on that team.
So I come to you today, or whatever. I come to you today, this afternoon, and say, hey, coach, I plan on leaving the school, and then tomorrow I enter the transfer portal. You're saying I don't get to play in the bowl game on Friday?
At that point, if you're in the transfer portal, I feel like you're not on that team.
So, like, kind of the point I brought up, what happens in, like, let's say earlier this year in the NFL season, like week 5, Christian McCaffrey came up with the Panthers GM and said, I want to trade and I want it this season. Would you expect him not to play in a single Panthers game after that conversation happened?
I mean, I could see him wanting to sit out. I mean, if he wants to prove a point,
as
a person.
But the point you're making at college level is the team itself is deciding he's no longer part of the team, so don't let him play.
I feel like it's a little bit different. Like Chris was trying to say earlier, on the professional level versus the collegiate level. The professional level, yes, you sign that national letter of intent where you're gonna come play. You're intending to go to that school. And the professional level, you sign a contract that you have to fulfill that contract.
Yeah, but you're talking about a team. So that will, hell, in my opinion, that's even more egregious that the player in the NFL or the professional world has signed a contract and has willingly agreed to be on this team. Well, but then all of a sudden says, "Hey, I'm fucking done."
Yeah.
Even though the college kids are literally there. I mean, they're getting paid by NIL, but the NIL has nothing to do with their performance.
Yeah.
But I think it's different because college kids are technically there for free. Yes, they're getting education and NIL. But there is no contractual obligation to the team, unlike in professional sports where we see it all the time. Guys are like, I want to be traded or I have no intention of re-signing whatsoever. Yeah. And they still play for the team that they have talked about leaving.
There have been instances both in the NBA and NFL where players that request
they'll sit out and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, Deshaun Watson sat for a year and a half, but I mean,
but
he also didn't get paid. Yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things.
I'm in the defense from an industry standpoint. I'm actually kind of you have to understand Keith's perspective. That is a lot of that's how Shane Beamer runs his program at USC. The moment you're in the portal, you're off the team, right? Which
I completely agree with that option that the coach decides, hey, you're out just because the pure form of distraction, your commitments in question and stuff like that. But I don't think kids should be blamed or questioned because they're like, hey, I do want to leave, but I still want one last ride.
Yeah, and if the coach lets them have it.
Yeah,
which is fair. I mean, a lot of the bigger programs like Nick Saban, and I'm not saying South Carolina's a big program, but they're a decent Power 5 program,
yeah.
Right? And Shane has clearly come out and said, when it comes to the portal, I don't want you jumping in without having conversations. Like, let's sit down, let's talk about it, because once you go in the portal, you're out the locker room, right? Like, you're gone. Yeah. And if you want to come back, we'll talk about it. But from the moment you put your name in that portal, you're off my team, and you need to go make the best decision for you.
He's done that with Jalen Brooks. He's done that with Marshawn Lloyd at this point. Yeah. Because anytime anybody asks a question about Marshawn Lloyd, he's on the team.
Well, I mean, a lot of it. And honestly, the way Deion handled Jackson State to Colorado, I thought was actually pretty well handled and professional. Is he told his players, nobody's going to the portal until after our bowl game. When we get done with North Carolina Central, then we can figure out who's going to the portal, who's coming with me to Colorado, and all that. And the day after the bowl game was done and they lost, both his Sanders sons were in the portal. Travis Hunter was in the portal. All of them immediately. Jackson State and Colorado, right? I thought it was handled pretty well. And I honestly don't know if he did that because he thought that his players couldn't play in the bowl game, or whether he designed it that way. But I mean,
but it could. Well, is there a time frame that your name has to be in the transfer portal?
So what they did this year is I think it was December, right? I think it was December 5th to January 16th.
It's like 45 days.
Yeah, if you put your name in, if you commit and sign, you have immediate eligibility guaranteed.
Okay, so it's not okay. Because I was gonna say like if it was like, oh no, you need to know by December 20th or whatever that whether or not you're gonna transfer out. You got kids. Well, like if I do that and then I got a December 30th or I got a New Year's Day bowl game, and coach is like, oh, sorry, you're off the team. Like at that point, I would have waited if you could, if that was an option.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess like you're saying, you got till essentially all the bowl games are done except for the championship.
Which I don't love the way they structured that. I wish actually they would run it probably from the end of bowl games to like the end of February, where you get a full 2 months, and then it's after National Signing Day for the high school kids. So these transfers can see where all these big name high school kids are, and they can make decisions, based on that. But
I'm sure that'll probably change at some point because this is probably going to make a change at some point with something as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, and Alex, I'm not disagreeing with like your logic and it being admirable and them winning that last ride. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I think Chris probably said it better than I did with saying it's up to the coach's discretion at that point. If a kid opts out, says goes into the transfer portal, then it's up to the coach to say, hey, yeah, you're off the team, or if you want to play, that's great, but it just in my opinion, if you go into the transfer portal, it just makes it seem like you're stepping away from that team. You're not going to be part of that team any longer. So, I mean, that's just where I stand.
Yeah, and I agree with that because I don't know if I would play the kid just because the lack of focus or whatever, unless having that meeting with the kid himself and being like, and can truly see that he truly does care about the bowl game. He wants to perform. He wants to have that last ride with his boys and everything like that. I would probably let the kid play, but I would have to see that full commitment to the game. Like Adam said, that whole love for the game would have to be shown. On the other hand, like in the NFL, NHL, in any professional sport, I'm not going to list them all out. But if in the NHL, or not the NHL, sorry, my mind's on hockey. If any professional sports setting, if I was the GM or the head coach of that team, and one of my players came up to me and was, I'm going to say bitching, because most of the kids that do this in professional sports, they're whining and drama filled. I want this trade, I want out, and they still play. Those are the guys I would bench quicker than a damn college athlete trying to play one last game with the team he's currently on. Yeah. And especially if it's like with Coastal Carolina, he's strictly trying to move up to a higher caliber school with a better chance of him, getting in front of a lot of NFL scouts. He's truly making a business move. It's not a personal or greedy move in that sense compared to the professional athlete. So I think I would respect the college kid more on his request to play one last game, then transfer.
Yeah. Any other takes?
I'm good.
All right. Well, hit us in the comments. Let us know what you think, whether players should be allowed to play in the bowl games while in the transfer portal. And as always, we appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe.